All right, guys, we are here for day 4 leg day, the video that you guys have all been asking for, and the ones that the trolls say Pete doesn't train legs because he never uploads leg videos. Well, the reason I never post leg stuff is because every time I do, no one watches it. So I don't post content that you guys don't want to see. But since you guys have been asking for it, if you really want to see more leg videos, watch this one till the end, hit the like button, and we'll see if this video does well. And if it does, I'll upload a lot more leg stuff. But let's get to the session. And first things first here. This is an extremely modified workout. It's not one that I'd recommend you guys do. I'm still setting up my home gym. I'm waiting for my leg extensions, my hamstring curls to get in. And as of right now, all I have is a rack, a barbell, plates, and some dumbbells. So I'm making do with what I have at the moment. And in that case, we're doing squats. But this makes for a really good time to talk about what my plans are for this off-season approach to my leg training. So just note, I'm also just getting back under a squat bar for the first time in over 8 weeks. Prior to that, the only spinal loading leg movement that I was doing, probably for an entire year or so, was the Hatfield Squat with a safety bar. In addition, due to having some severe sciatic issues recently, some knee pain and some mobility issues, above all else, my first priorities for leg training this phase in order are 1, don't get hurt. 2, don't aggravate my sciatica. 3, don't wreck my knees. 4, use a technique that prioritizes quad and adductor activation. So to accomplish this, my 2 main movements are going to be Hatfield squats and what you see here, which is a modified stance barbell squat. The way I'm modifying this is I'm doing these with my feet wider than usual to get more adductor development. And I'm actually squatting a bit more shallow than normal. I'm purposely avoiding that ass to grass squat, and I'm stopping just around parallel or actually slightly above parallel here. I'm bringing my quads down to full depth, and then I'm coming right back up. Now, I've always been an ass to grass squatter, and that does have its place. But most people don't understand that there's a range of motion for a body part, and then there's a range of motion for a movement. And for quads, most of that engagement actually stops right around parallel. Then the rest of that depth, it's more glutes, hips, hamstrings, and even some lower back, all depending on your technique. Now, that's not a bad thing at all. And if you want the most muscle mass possible from your squatting, a greater range of motion is probably a good idea. And I trained that way my entire lifting career, but I need to specialize a bit more currently. And that's why I'm using this technique. Now, at my strongest years ago, I was probably barbell squatting about 405, full range of motion for about 8 to 10 reps. Now, with this combination of this new squat technique, not being under a squat bar in months, and being a bit detrained after all this time off after prep, I'll be honest, this didn't feel great at all. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't extremely heavy by any means, but it just felt very rusty. My body felt very stiff. And my main priority today is just building back up over time. So, obviously, no PRs here today, not even aiming anywhere near close. My goal for today was just to establish a baseline, start building that skill with a new technique, and getting used to the new movement pattern. So we did 2 working sets of 10, then 2 working sets of 5 to get a bit of volume in and to expose myself to a little bit heavier weight. Now, as this block progresses, this will turn into a standard progression movement for me, where I'll hit a heavy top set around 5 to 8 reps, then I'll do a higher rep back off set at about 10 to 12 reps. But for now, we're laying the foundation, and technique work is more important than load or even intensity for week 1 here. One thing I really want to talk about is leg training, and the exercise that you use really should be specific to your goals. You have a high bar stance, low bar stance, wide foot stance, narrow foot stance, you have a parallel squat or an ATG squat. Now, there's nothing better or worse about any of these things, but they're all different tools, and that's what you need to understand. So let's talk about that a bit more. This past year, I was utilizing the Hatfield squat as my overall mass builder for the lower body. I was dealing with a lot of lower back and knee issues that I really couldn't train legs the way I wanted to, and that was literally the only movement that I could confidently get under a heavy load and push progressively on. And as you can see, I was pretty strong on these. My best lift was 520 for 8 full range of motion reps. The range of motion was deeper than I'm squatting now. The stance was more narrow. But there's one thing, and if you look closely at the technique, you could see it. There's a lot of compensation going on here at the bottom of the movement by my glutes and my lower back, which is not a bad thing. I could use a lot more muscle there as well. But what's going on here is I'm losing a decent amount of adductor work due to the stance. And this technique also allows me to use a ton of weight, which I don't want to if I don't have to. Again, I'm using 520 pounds here. Comparatively, I'd say that my strength on a regular barbell back squat is about 405 for the same reps. Now, in my case, I need bigger quads, I need bigger adductors, and I'll be honest, I'm not trying to squat 600 pounds to achieve that. So this is where the wide stance parallel squat gets added in. And for now, the wide stance squats I'm training with are even less than 3 plates, which is extremely light, especially relatively speaking. But if I get that back up to around 4 or 5 or so, those adductors and those quads are definitely going to thicken up. And for those muscles specifically, I'll also be doubling down on my more hypertrophy focused volume work. So I'm going to be hammering those leg extensions and those adductor movements in addition to the heavy squatting as soon as that equipment gets in. So when that does happen, my leg training will definitely be a bit more interesting to watch as we go. But that's really it for right now for the first workout. I finished off that session with some calf work, but that'll be something I'll save for another video. Plus, who really cares about watching calf work? But for now, if you guys want to build muscle using proven old school bodybuilding methods, make sure to check out my training programs down below. And as always, if you want to follow along, make sure to hit subscribe.